Hi, this is Patty Little. I'd like to welcome you to the training on CivicClerk. Before getting into a review of the actual screens in the application, I want to share some general information that will be useful to know. The Novus Agenda Management application, as well as the Granicus video streaming application, have been replaced by a new platform from the software vendor Civic Plus. Civic Plus may seem familiar to you as there are other modules in use in the city, such as ClickFix and Civic HR. This training video is intended to explain the functionality of CivicClerk. The preferred browsers for this application are Edge, Chrome, or Firefox. Do not use Internet Explorer to access the application. You can find the link to CivicClerk on the internet under Quick Links or under the tab Info and Links. This training video will also be posted to the internet for your convenience. For those users who currently use ClickFix, you may use your current username and password for this platform. All other users who are new to Civic Plus will need to establish a username and password. We have concluded our efforts at converting over the Council and Standing Committee videos, as well as the Council and Standing Committee agenda packets from 2016 forward to this new platform. These agenda packets were OCR'd when initially created and will be searchable from within the new CivicClerk application. There are many new features in this system that will allow us to leverage the data through the use of tags and other reporting capabilities. This will be fleshed out further as the organization determines how tagging will be used. The system also allows for the signing of post-meeting tasks to ensure proper follow-through on all council directives. This tool will be more fully vetted with staff as we gain more experience with CivicClerk and understand how to use these features most effectively. As we are deploying CivicClerk, we recognize that we have just scratched the surface of knowing this application's features. As we learn more, we will produce sequels to this training video to share new information with you. Now, Terry Hood will walk through the application and highlight the unique terminology used in the product in order to provide you a good understanding of its use.
Hi, this is Terry, and we're going to start on the login screen. You'll notice your username is the city email that you use, and that you also should have created a unique password when you validated your account. So we're going to hit sign in. Once you're logged into the system, you'll be on the My Clerk page, and this page gives you quick access to any items, approvals, or tasks that might be associated with you or your department. There's also a search feature on the top of the page to assist you with finding an item or an agenda that an item is assigned to. You can search using keywords, and the search will drill down to the attachment level to provide the most specific search results. We also wanted to show you where to find user preferences and the Help Center. If you click on your initials in the upper right corner, you'll find the Preferences menu. In this screen, you can upload an avatar, and this is also where your password information is stored. In addition, this screen will allow you to toggle on or off the various email notifications available. It's recommended that you leave them all active until we all become more familiar with the application. This is also the screen where you can assign other staff to serve as a backup approver. This can be done so the person is always your backup, or so they do this function for a set period of time. Next, we're going to go to the Help Center. If you have questions about using CivicClerk, you can click on the Help Center link, and the application will open a new window where you can look up information. As our example here, if you choose Backup Approver, you're going to find a list of tutorials on that subject. So next, we're going to go back to the My Clerk screen and talk about the navigation buttons on the left side of the screen in the purple bar. So on the bottom, we have the Analytics button. This is where you will go to search, and you can create custom reports in this view. We're going to actually give you more on this once we've vetted it more closely and learned about how we can use that functionality. Next, we go to Events. This button will navigate the user to the location where meeting dates are added to the system. This is actually a function of the clerk's office and will be used exclusively by our department. Under Meetings, this is the button where you'll find the agendas that have been created in the system, and you can view this in Card View or in List View. This is also where you'll go to add an item to an agenda. You can search here by period of time and type of meeting to find the meeting you're looking for. So once the meeting is selected, a template for that agenda will display on the screen showing the various sections on that agenda. To add an item, click on the Create button and hit Item. One of the first fields you'll see in this is section of the agenda that you want to add your item to. There's a drop-down list of options. If you're adding an item to a standing committee agenda, you would always choose the Agenda Items section to place the item correctly. Next, you'll enter the item title in the Agenda Item Name field. This is a free-form data entry field with various formatting options. The Categories field contains a drop-down list of options as well. The option you choose will dictate the approval workflow for your item. You will see a generic category called Agenda Item for items that only require departmental and city manager review and approval. This is the option to select for all standing committee agenda items. I want to point out there are actually 14 specific categories in that field to choose from. In the department field, you'll automatically be identified by how you were logged into the system. And then finally on this screen, you'll see the item ID, and this is a system generated entry that we don't change. So once you've completed those fields, you'll hit Create Item. This creates a placeholder on the agenda, and it also launches a new screen where you can add further detail to your item. You can see that the agenda item title and other fields of information you already entered are populated on this screen. So now let's go through finalizing data entry of your item and submitting it to the workflow. So to look at the workflow that was applied to your item, you can click on View Item Fields and choose View Item or choose Item Approvals. This is going to show you a list of everyone in the workflow. So you can add or remove approvers to this workflow as needed. So we're going to show you how to delete. We're going to remove Helen. Now, if we wanted to add someone, we'd click on Add Approval and select the individual from the list that you want to add to your approval routing. And then click Add Approval. And you'll notice that it put the person at the bottom of the list, but we want the city manager to remain at the bottom as the last person who looks at this item and really makes says that it's agenda ready. So let's edit the order and move Mary so that she's on a different part of that list, and then we'll hit Save. So it's important to note that anyone designated as an approver in a workflow are really reviewing and refining the item prior to the manager doing the final review and specifying that the item is agenda ready. So once you're happy with what you see here, we can navigate back to item fields to continue our entry. So let's walk through the fields on this screen. First, you're going to see the short name under your agenda item name. So this is automatically generated by the system, and it's a truncated title that serves as a bookmark in the system generated packet. So if you notice that it cuts off a word or a phrase, you can make corrections here if needed. The item ID, again, is a system generated field that we don't change. Under item category, this field contains your selection from the previous screen. Next, you'll enter the recommended action in the recommendation field. If you copy text into the application from a Word document, the system will ask you if you want to keep source formatting or have the system clean it for you. If you're pulling in text, we recommend you select clean. However, if you're pulling in something like a table or some other kind of data that you've specifically formatted in another application, we recommend that you bring it in with the source formatting intact, just so you're aware. In the department field, this is also pre-filled based on who's logged into the system in your department. In the from field, you can start typing your first and last name or pull up the list and select your name from the drop-down menu. You don't need to enter your title. These are automatically associated to your name in the system and will populate your memo based on what's in the system. The same drop-down list of names exists in the through field as well. So in the background field, this will allow you to include a narrative explaining your item. You may have noticed that this and other data entry fields provide formatting options like bolding and underlining, etc. And again, the improvement here is that the application allows you to do things with formatting like add images, graphs, table data, and links to external sources, and they will be incorporated seamlessly into your entry. So under the next section, you'll see council action. This field is used by the clerk's office to create the council actions and referrals after the meeting. You may notice that each data entry field on the page has links to version history. This is where edits of that segment are stored along with who made the changes. We're not actually going to go in there right now because there's nothing really to display. So let's save our work by clicking Save Item. And now we're going to show you how to add an attachment. So if you go back up to View Item Fields to access the drop-down menu, and then choose Item Files. You'll notice the system is already showing one file associated with your item. This item file is the cover sheet or memo that goes into the agenda packet, and which has been automatically populated by your data entry. You'll click on Add Attachments to add something to your item, and a pop-up screen will come up. You'll click on the green cloud and choose your file. You can actually choose more than one attachment at a time. So if we scroll all the way up, we're going to pick the first two here and pull those in. It's going to pull them in the order you selected them. And then we're going to hit Add. You can also add items one at a time if you prefer, or if they're in different directories, you can do one and then the next one. And that does take a moment for it to pull these in for you. Okay, once these are in here, I just want to point out that you can reorder the list if you'd like by hitting Edit Order, and it's going to give you the option to move them into a different order. Once you've saved that, also want to point out that you can click on the blue pencil next to an attachment and edit the file name if you need to. This is the name that displays in the agenda packet. So if you're not happy with what you've chosen, you can make changes here. If you would like to preview your item at this point before submitting it to the approval workflow, you can click on Actions at the top and select Item Preview. You'll see your item files, meaning the cover memo and any associated attachments in this preview mode, and it's going to look exactly like it will appear in the agenda packet. So let's get out of here, and we're going to save our work one more time. And now we are ready to hit Start Approvals to initiate the approval workflow. When you do this, the next person in the chain of approvers will receive an email notification that they are in the queue to look at your item. So now you've completed entry of your agenda item. We want to note that the adding of items and approval processes in CivicClerk is deadline driven based on our typical agenda deadlines for council and standing committees. The deadlines are programmed into the system and specify when users will be blocked from adding, editing, or approving items on an agenda. This feature was also present in Novus. However, it was never turned on. This deadline can be disabled on a case-by-case basis, but it will be appreciated if all staff work within the deadlines. We also wanted to end with a reminder to utilize the CivicClerk Help Center when you have questions about using the system. There are very helpful tutorials and articles available to users. And as always, the City Clerk's office staff will also be here to assist you as you gain experience with this new application. Thank you so much for watching our training video.